I heard you have a sticky note upstairs.
I do.
Do you want to tell us what it says?
So the sticky note was, as we know, the Knicks and Pacers went 7, and the Knicks were an injured basketball team when the Pacers eliminated them to ultimately get swept by the Boston Celtics. And I wrote on that sticky note that if we were to face the Pacers again, and this is a direct quote, I do not fear the Indiana Pacers. And I still don't. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on it. I obviously thought the situation would be different when we brought this sticky note up. So it's not looking great right now with the sticky note.
You don't have to fear them. I mean, you can respect them. I mean, it's like,
yeah, I don't fear them.
The Stars, like, I mean, I am very accepting of where the Stars are right now. The Oilers are just better.
Yeah.
And that may be the situation that you're in. So the Knicks on the brink of elimination. Avery, the other day, we had you say, you know, what it was like to be a coach when you're in the middle of a comeback, like that 20-point comeback. When your team is on the brink of elimination like this, how do you try to get this team focused to try to go out and get the win tonight?
Well, first it would have started in shoot around this morning.
Okay.
Just talking to the team about no slow starts. You look at, it was too many points from the Indiana Pacers. 43 points in the first quarter. You even look at last night's game, Minnesota only scores 9 points in the first quarter. We always talk about it's the second half or fourth quarter league. It's as much of a first quarter league, especially in the playoffs, by setting the tone. So no slow starts. And you have to watch it even in the first 5 to 6 minutes of the quarter. Take care of the basketball. Because if it's a foot race, when you turn the ball over, Knicks, Indiana's going to win that foot race, and then it's going to show up in transition and fast break points. So if you don't take care of the basketball, that's going to limit you from getting off to a faster start, and that's going to have an effect on you fighting uphill the rest of the game. And then where's the Knicks defense? You know, we're supposed to have all these different defensive stoppers, Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart and OG Anunoby. You know, where is the defense? Even Jalen Brunson, we need better defense from your best player. You can't hide. You have to sit down in the stands and guard your man and get 3 out of 5 stops.
Let me ask you this, Ashley. Should Tom Thibodeau's job be on the line if they are eliminated? I mean, yeah, they very well are probably going to get eliminated at some point in the near future.
I believe in Knicks in 7, first of all. I want to lead with that.
Write it down.
That's what I
have.
had.
Your affirmation.
That's what I had going into this series, and I'm going down with my ship if I'm going to go down. But I will say this, and Coach will know. Look, there are coaches who are regular season coaches, and then there are coaches that are postseason and regular season coaches. And I think with Tom Thibodeau, I don't think he's a bad coach. I think his coaching style hits a wall in the postseason. I think when you are playing in the regular season, you can get away with kind of running your starters or, you know, doing some of the things that he does, having these defensive lapses and getting away with it because there's so many games in the regular season to cushion. But when you're talking about a best-of-7 series, there's only so much room for error, and you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And the fly doesn't always mean game to game. It means quarter to quarter. And that's why I'm a huge fan of Erik Spoelstra. He's one of the best in the league at doing it. And if you give Erik Spoelstra a couple of days to adjust, he's going to have a whole different game plan. One thing I'm seeing from Tom Thibodeau that's just really frustrating is the lack of creativity. And I think it's because he goes into the game with a game plan and he's unable to pivot from that. So I don't think he's a bad coach. I just think he's a coach who has, his style has run its course with this New York Knicks team. And just because you're a coach that the guys can get behind, just because you have the locker room, doesn't mean you're the coach for where the team is progressing and where they're trying to go. And I think when you talk about Tom Thibodeau, that's the issue. His style just does not translate to the postseason. And I think it's more evident than ever before in this series against the Pacers.
Ashley makes some wonderful points, and a lot of times when a former coach like myself is talking about a current coach, you know, we're always trying to coddle the current coach or create some sort of bias. Here's what I would say. I like to see how this game plays out tonight and go back and really think about Coach Tom Thibodeau's entire body of work this season. you know, the Knicks have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. And before that, I played against them in 1999. One of the things we always want to sometimes put the blame on coaches, he's not turning the ball over on the floor. Karl Anthony Towns has to hustle back more in transition and play better defense. In game one, they could have very well won that game if they'd taken better care of the ball and make your free throws. So again, I'm not bailing Coach Tibbs out, but I like to see what happens tonight. But I've definitely seen coaches changes made when teams have gotten this far, and teams have made coaching changes. That's up to ownership. But I think overall, up until this point, his body of work this year has been, I think it's been outstanding.
And I think it's really important, real quick on that, to note as well, I agree with Avery, it's not all Tibbs. You know, he's not playing with the jersey on. He's not out there turning the ball over, missing free throws. There is responsibility on the players on the court, and I will put that responsibility on them. Jalen Brunson at times does not hold down his end of the bargain when it comes to being a player on this team. Same for Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, the list goes on and on. But I will say the responsibility of Tibbs is to be creative with what he has at his disposal, and the frustration is his unwillingness to do that. So while I don't think there's anything wrong with the roster, I think, yes, you need to add some more pieces to the bench. I think you also need to have a coach who's willing to utilize everything at his disposal, and I think that's where Tibbs falls short.
And I think the last part is, there are times when we get to this point, because I've been here before. 1995, we lose to the Houston Rockets in the Western Conference Finals. We've dominated Houston all year. They make a trade for Clyde Drexler. We lose. They go on to beat Orlando in the NBA Finals. So I've been here before. There are times in situations like this where a coaching change is necessary. But here's what I would say. He's got to be a little bit more creative. I totally agree there. But at the end of the day, he's got to infuse confidence in his team, and he's got to push all the right buttons tonight, because that's all that matters is this game tonight.
Avery, Ashley, we appreciate it. I just appreciate the intelligence coming from both of you and the insight. And Avery, I mean, there's a reason you're Coach of the Year, so very well spoken on all of the points there. We'll talk to you very soon. Enjoy the game tonight. Ashley, triple threat. What have you got going on this week?
I'm conjuring every ounce of positive energy I have for tonight's game. So I'm casting spells.
Yeah,
I'm doing everything.
We'll do witchcraft.
Yeah,
you and I are going to get together.
Let's do it. Crystals and all.